right, and St. Patty's Day is tomorrow. Many people will be having a little corned beef to commemorate the occasion.
That's right, and Chef Mike Stigler is back from Thunder Bay to serve up a nice platter of corned beef and cabbage. And look at him, as a good Irishman does. He's already pouring us a little Guinness.
Taste of the Irish.
Cheers.
Start it off, right?
Slacked.
It's good
Tasty,
stuff, little
huh?
Guinness.
Gotta love it.
That's fantastic.
Gotta love it.
Now, you love all things jambalaya, Cajun, whatever. So this is a little bit of a switch up for you because this is not your typical Cajun fare.
It's not Cajun at all. It's Irish. Actually, it's Irish American. You know, people think corned beef and cabbage is Irish. It's actually Irish American, but it's used as part of the celebration of the Irish heritage. And while I'm not Irish myself, I definitely appreciate the food, and this is definitely some good food. I mean, it's hearty. It's got a lot of good flavors going on. There are some parallels to Cajun, but it's definitely not spicy, but it's definitely flavorful. So.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody's Irish tomorrow, right?
See, everybody's got a little bit of the Irish in them.
True.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
So what's the key to a good corned beef?
Well, the good corned beef, the key is obviously cooking it properly, like any large piece of meat. And you got to use brisket, you know, and you have to pull it out before it falls apart, but while it's still fork tender. And I'm going to show you how we got to that point today.
Awesome.
So what I've got going on over here, I got all the burners going today.
Yeah,
We're cooking a little bit of everything. So I've got the corned beef going in this pot right here. I've got some parsley buttered red potatoes going on in this pot here. I've got some bacon braised Napa cabbage over here going on. It's sizzling with a little bit of bacon.
Well, that looks
I've got
good.
some honey glazed carrots. And then here is the main event right here. You ready for the big reveal?
I'm ready.
Voila, the corned beef brisket with a little
that
bit of
looks
Guinness on top
good.
of it there too. So now the way that we cook this brisket in the restaurant is that we slow cook it. We cover it all the way up with water pretty much, keep the pot covered. We cook it for probably close to 6 to 8 hours, depending on the size of the brisket.
Okay.
Now this one is a little bit smaller because I was bringing it on TV. Some of them are, you know, really large.
Yeah.
And when you're cooking a bunch of them together like that, you have to make sure that you don't overcook them. And the way that you can tell if your brisket is done right here is if you look, you can see that there's a grain.
Can you tip that up a little bit?
I can tip it up a little bit there.
There you go.
Here you go. You can see that there's a grain that runs down along the top of the brisket. And when
Okay.
you put your fork in there and you give it a little bit of a twist like that, you want your brisket to kind of come apart like this
There,
one is
tip it
doing.
a little
See the
more.
way that
Oh,
see the way that
yeah.
comes apart like
Okay.
that? That's the way you want it to be. If you
that
twist it
looks
like this
good.
and the whole roast instantly falls into shreds, you overcooked it.
Okay.
If you stick it in here and you give it a twist and you can't do anything with it, it's not going to be any good.
Okay.
Okay.
This brisket here is perfect.
There are different cuts of corned beef, and I'm always confused when I go to the store because I usually, unfortunately, only buy it once a year.
Right, yeah.
How do you know which cut is the best?
Well, you know, corned beef is actually just a reference to the process of you know, putting the peppercorns and all
Right.
that stuff in there with it. So you can corn any kind of beef that you want. You know, sometimes people will use like eye of the round if they're going to use it for like deli meats, like a lot of the Reubens that you get are eye of the round because they don't fall apart quite as much. But for this type of an application like what we're doing here, you got to go with the brisket because this is going to give us the flavor and the taste that we want.
That looks
so
delicious.
as you'll see here, like I was mentioning before, the way the grain runs down like that, what you want to do is you want to cut it across the grain, and that's going to make your corned beef be just fall apart, fork tender
Oh my
like
gosh, that
this.
looks
Because
so good.
even though you serve a steak knife with it, you don't really need to use a steak knife to eat this brisket. As you can see, this stuff is just tender and it's really delicious. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put together the plate because all the stuff I got going over here is just about ready.
Looks
So
so
we
good.
have our bacon braised cabbage.
Yum.
Now traditionally you could use like a regular green cabbage if you wanted to. This is a Napa cabbage, which is actually sort of a Chinese cabbage, but it's got a little bit more sweetness to it. And we
Okay.
crisp up the bacon in the pan, get that nice and crispy, and then we add a little bit of butter to it, and then we go ahead and go all in with our cabbage on top of that. And then I'm going to take our corned beef, and this is one of those scenarios where it's really best just to use your hands because otherwise this
it doesn't
stuff's going to all
fall
fall
apart,
right?
apart. We put that right on top
Take that.
of the cabbage like that. And then we are going to take our potatoes, which these are red potatoes, which we kind of peeled a little bit, sauteed those up in butter with a little bit of parsley as well to give those a little bit of nice color like that, a little bit of the luck of the green for the Irish. And then to that, we're going to go ahead and add some of our glazed carrots, which these are baby carrots. They're actually Parisienne carrots. They grow this way. We don't scoop them out or anything. They're little baby
I
carrots.
wondered about that.
And those are with honey, a little bit of orange juice, and some dill, and once again, a little bit of parsley. And then to that, we're just going to take a little bit of this delicious Guinness broth and kind of pour that over the top of this corned beef so that it kind of bastes it a little bit. And then we have an Irish stout rye roll to go along with that. And then we'll put a little bit of the Luck of the Irish on there too, a little bit of extra green around the plate to give it some color.
I feel like I just fell in love with you, Mike.
Again?
Yeah.
All right.
Just now.
Outstanding.
There you go, Tim.
Really.
So yeah, that's our corned beef and cabbage platter, and we're going to be serving that both at lunch and at dinner tomorrow. Out at the restaurant, so from 11 o'clock in the morning when we open for lunch, all the way through dinner.
That's some of the best corned beef I've ever had.
Isn't it fantastic? I love it. And then we also are going to be serving, obviously we're going to have some drink specials. We're going to have Guinness, we're going to have Jameson all day long, and then we're also doing an Irish cream cheesecake for dessert. So you can have a whole Irish-style feast tomorrow at Thunder Bay.
And I was reading about, it was something like the green sour apple shamrock shot.
Yeah, how's that sound?
That you can get at Thunder Bay. So tomorrow you got to visit Thunder Bay, because why do all the work yourself? Plus, this is going to taste way better than anything you can do.
Good.
Trust me. Tomorrow, Thursday, March 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day from Thunder Bay. You can get their corned beef platter, what? For $13.99? That is a steal. There are also drink specials from noon until 7, because the Irish like to start early. You can call for reservations at 262-523-4244. They are located just off of exit 294 off of Highway 94, thunderbaygrill.com.
So they say, can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
That's
Thanks, ladies.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
St. Patty's Day.